All right, guys. So we're going to do a quick review on how I wanted you all to set up your PSAs and your segment videos for the WCMS News and the public service announcements. So, real quick, we have our logo, title first, title second. Green screen was optional. You got your B roll, you have your A roll, and you have your graphics, voiceover if needed, and then your music first, and then music second. Now, what I've done here as I've gone here and I have changed the track height. You can go regular, you can go large, but in this case, on every one of them right now, I'm going to go small except for music, and here's why. If you listen to it, so right here is when I'm going to come in and do an intro track like we've been videoing for eighth and seventh grade. So I'm going to do a transition where I'm going to click. And the reason I want to make this large on the height is because it's easier to get to. Remember, you can change the size, if you want to look at it. And I'm going to change the size so I can see all of my tracks. Okay, so I'm going to take Control Z, undo. So I'm going to click on that. That way I can keep the audio lower. So now I've got my audio that I've created. Let's listen to it. So I'm doing mental health. It's your intro, and then you see it kind of goes smoothly, a smooth transition from uh, loud to not quite as loud. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add some media, and I'm going to probably pull one from. Let's see here. Let's go eighth grade. I'm going to pull one from our eighth grade group that they've done the intro. So let's go in here. Again, you can pull everything from your Google Drive. Okay. PSA intros. And let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let's pull in. I'll pull this one in here. Okay. See what this sounds like. All right, so now it's going into my media as you see that. Now, while it's uploading, you can obviously go down here. I'm going to drop it. Oh, so it's still importing, so I'm going to give it a second to import. Shouldn't take too long, but again, so make sure that you understand, like while we're waiting for that to import, you're going to do, for your PSA, it needs to be 1 minute. If you're doing your WCMS news, it doesn't have to quite, it can be several minutes per student, but your PSA has to be exactly 60 seconds or roughly 60 seconds like a commercial. So let me go in here to my media. So let me pause that. Let me pause that for a minute. And I'm going to drag that. So that's 20 seconds and it shows it right there. Okay, so that is considered to be a roll because it's main footage. Now, that being said, I'm going to click on this. There's just a little bit too much just above my head there, so I'm going to scale it a little bit where I'm like that. That way, I got the rule of thirds where it's split up. If you split the screen in threes, so like in this case, it's going to be. Now, the problem with me zooming it in, you notice it's a little bit pixelated. However, my my text transition is good, and my logo is good. So that's really good. So what I might do, I'm going to go back and just go ahead and get it back to regular scale. I'm going to go to fit. If you want to go fill, you can do fill as well. I'm going to leave it as that. I'm going to play it and see it in full screen. So real quick, so now you see where I've got my A roll and then I slide into B roll. Now, Here's another thing with your voiceover and your green screen and things like that. I've got my green screen file right here, or my track right here. So let's say I've, I've got a gray shirt on and I got a blue background. If you have a green background, you need, the key is not having the same shirt color that you have as the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into media and I'm going to go to my stock media. Okay. And I'm going to go and type in, we're talking mental health. So I'm going to go here. Let's look at some of the free stock footage from Adobe. And we can just look at some different things. Something that I feel like might be consistent with. Let's see here. And the cool thing, I like that one because where it's going to pop up on the right side and I'm on the left side. So I'm going to add that right there. It usually pops up at the bottom. So whatever media you add, it's right there at the bottom. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got my B-roll footage. I got my A-roll footage. Let me drop it down here to the beginning of my A-roll footage. Okay. And what I need to do is let me move this down. And this is where I might make a minor change here. I'm going to move this down to underneath A-roll. Okay. Where it's just underneath. And I'm going to drag it like that. Okay. Now, so if you want to use your green screen, just put it underneath A-roll. And then I'm going to double click on my A-roll here. I'm going to hit the color keyer. And then I'm going to hit the dropper. And then I'm going to hit that. And there you go. So that gives you your background that looks really good. Some contrast to it. It's, professional looking. So let's look at it from the beginning. So right there is, as you notice, um, now right there is where I'm going to extend the volume to there. And now I'm going to really pull it back up. Now the next process is getting into like maybe putting interviews of students, of teachers or whatever in this A-roll spot. Again, if you use the green screen, this is the process where you can use that. And I would drop that underneath. That looks, in my opinion, it looks better than, and because the quality of video is very good, it's definitely high definition 1080p, if not 4K with the M50 camera that we're using. But if you use the green screen, we're using the Canon XA45 with the microphone. So that being said, we can drop some of those things in just for that, just for the sake of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some footage from the eighth grade news team that was in the green room. Now, the seventh grade students, you all been working through that in both classes. So let's go right here in the shared folder and let's go to PSA intros and let's see where we're at. So let's see. Let me pull this one in and let's see what that looks like. Okay. All right. So we'll pull, I believe that is, yeah, that's one of our eighth grade students. So what I'm going to do, I've got some B-roll footage here. As you notice, anything that is any track that's above another track is going to show over the whole thing. So if you look at it, your logo is right here. Okay. The size of the logo is smaller, right? I'm going to move it down here. Okay. Typically, when we first did it, it was huge. I made it smaller because I wanted to show pretty much from 5 seconds all the way to a minute. Okay. The reason I didn't do for the whole time is because I wanted the uh, mental health to stand alone. Now, one thing I might need to do with this. I might need to drop some text in there because we're talking about, and I'll just use in with a whisper right there. We're talking a little bit about uh, teenage suicide. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to move this down right here. Okay. And I'm going to type in teenage. Whoops, I totally misspelled that. There we go. All right. So you can move it however you want. You use the right there. And, I'll keep that like just right off of that. And it's going to like transition in. Again, you have your plus and your minus. So I'm going to hit plus on the front part of it and minus on the back part of it. So let's see what that looks like. So I want to move that. Let me delete that right there. And I'm going to move it over just a little bit because I want mental health to show for a second or two. And then teen suicide. There you go. So that's nice and smooth, nice transition. And now here comes my logo. Now here's my A roll. And then every time a person shows up, they have to have their name and what they are. So in this case, Jeremy McGuire, teacher, Crawford Middle School. This is my A roll. I got my mental health my mental health on the green screen there. So this would be consistent of the intro you all are doing. Of course, mine's a little bit longer just for the purpose of me teaching it. Okay, so like say I'm going to go into another student, like so for example, I'm going to go here, A row. Here we go. Now, before I move on to that, I'm going to extend the volume right here at least through um, Ashland's conversation. Now, if you notice, that's at about 14, 15%. So you want to try to maintain that percentage to be pretty consistent, So like if it's at 14 there, let's make it 14 there. It won't do it for me. Well, that's fine. I mean, as long as it's fairly close. Okay. So now what I have to do is now I've got title. So we're going to say, I'll change this to, I want to get rid of that title right there. Okay. And I'm going to add another title. Okay. So we're going to add text. Let's go through these texts. Make sure that the text doesn't take away from the person that you're, that's working on the video or the person in the video. So in this case, I'm going to drop that right there. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so what I'm going to do there, I'm going to double click that. I'm going to move this up here, make it smaller. Okay. You know what? I'm going to delete. I don't like that because it's going to make it too small. So let's get rid of that. Sometimes, like, I might even come in with a whisper. So here's why you have two titles. Okay. Let's go right here. Let's transition that. So we're going to say, I'm going to say Ashland P, okay, as a student. Okay. And I'm going to click auto size font because I want to make that bigger. I want her name to be much larger. Okay. So we'll say 160. Okay. Because I want that to, kind of be in your face, if you will. Okay. Now, title second, I'm going to use in with a whisper again. Okay. And here, let's make sure you're going to add now, the cool thing about in with a whisper, it transitions on its own, all like out. Um, and we'll just say uh, Crawford student. Okay. So then I'm going to put it right here, kind of small. And then I'm going to change the color to black. And then let's see what it looks like. Also, one thing here, I need to make sure that like where it shows black, I don't want it to be black. So, all right, so let's go to Ashland's. See how smooth that was? It said Ashland P, and then it said um, Crawford student. Now, that's a green screen, right? So let's say you're talking about something specifically to mental health, or in this case, she's talking about how to act in class, which is also kind of a part of mental health. So now let's go back to our stock media, or if you have your own media, let's say you have your own footage of people in the classroom working and different things like that, and you want to use specific footage from B-roll footage that you've used. So when you talk B-roll, um, let's talk about how you can video, like a pan from right to left or left to right in a classroom, about how to act in class. And that's going to be, instead of going to stock media, you're going to use this footage. So let me go into this right here and grab some Ashland footage. Okay, now here's the problem. She's got some footage in the classroom, so I'm going to select it. When you put that in as a B-roll, you're going to cut the audio because you obviously want her voice to be heard over the audio. And all I'm using that footage for is to put behind the green screen or put on the green screen. Okay. So this is like if you're doing a intro, and this is more specifically for seventh grade, because I know you all are not as well versed in that. If you understand how she did it, this is all we need. So this is very smooth. Name, your theme, and then you're going to move on. So in this case, you've got, people in class. So if you wanted to use that, I can drop this. So I'm going to drop that right there. I'm going to go to the end of that clip and I'm going to split the clip and I'm going to delete that. Okay. Now, here's the most important thing about that. You don't want to hear the audio at all. So I'm going to mute the audio. So I'm going to go here. I double clicked it. I'm going to go audio 0%. And then now you can't see it yet because I haven't done the color keyer. So now I'm going to double click her. Okay. Actually, before I can double click her, I want to add a transition, add a transition, add a transition, and plus add a transition. Now, if you notice right there, the transitions match based on the A roll and the green screen. So I'm going to double click on her, hit the keying, hit the dropper, hit the green screen. Now I'm going to hit save. Now here's the other process. Now that I've done that, if you notice where Crawford student is in black, what we're going to have to do there is probably change the color to where it shows up, which is a lot better. Okay. So it's got to show up based on the video that you made. There you go. So that works really well. See, so now we're on to the next video. Okay. So you're going to video, clip, video, clip, video, clip as you're going on and on and on and on. Now you can use B-roll, but like stock media B-roll if you want to, so like you could do all kinds of cool stuff like, you know, we're talking about how to act in class, you know, so I might, drop some of this in there, anything. Remember, we're trying to make an impact. So anything that's positive, that's A roll, you can use that as B roll, whatever. Okay. See what I'm saying? So you want to make it to where it splits up like every few seconds. So here's another important thing here. You're going to hit save. Okay. Save the project. Um, and if you wanted to invite collaborators to it, like if you have a person that you wanted them to help you with it, you could click right here and add their email address or copy that and invite members. You can do that through your inbox if like there's somebody that's really good at editing, or that's how you can collaborate. So this really helps our cause as far as this is how you can collaborate. You can collaborate with somebody outside of school. If somebody's really good at doing that. So let's look at it in full screen. So right there, I'm at about 40 minutes. So seventh grade, when you all are doing yours, you only got about 20 seconds to close it out. So I've done a whole lot to, between, you know, time 0 to 40 seconds. Now, eighth grade, you guys are going to extend yours longer than a minute or so because you're going to get into interviews and things like that. So, but the key is making sure that you have your project set up correctly. Go through this process, and then, like for example, if I want, like here's another. If I want to put this right here, so if you wanted to, like, say you wanted to move something to a different location, I'm going to select that and I can move that here. And then that goes right into the next part. Okay. By using, B-roll. But now here's the other problem here. This is probably a little bit long. I mean, that's like 10 seconds, which is fine, but you still need to add some things. Now, the reason I showed that is this. If you wanted to take a picture, a still image, okay, and you wanted to animate it, what I did is I've got a start position and I got an end position. So if there's a picture you wanted to show of something you've taken, there's a start position and there's an end position. Okay. So the scale is the same, 2.87. Okay. If I change the scale, what that does is that changes the size of the squirrel, right? So if I change it on start position, I got to change it on the end position. Okay. So you all got to be willing to go through this teaching tool. You've got to be willing to go through this video to help you. I'm going to help you all I can, but at a certain point, you all are going to have to be self-sufficient and work a little bit on your own or with a partner. Some of you all are sitting in different groups. So that being said, you got to make sure that you're doing your thing with your classmates, okay? Because this is our learning process. So that's where we're at. There's not really anything else. Last thing, when we get done, before anybody turns it in, we'll all check it together. At the very end, let's say we're done with our video, you're going to go in and add text. You also have static text if you want to, but the cool thing about this is if anybody's helped you, you can go in there and, add your scrolling credits. How you add your scrolling credits is, remember, we're going to go back to animation. You got the start position and you got the end position. So I'm dropping, if you notice, I'm dropping this where you can't see it like that. And the end position is going to be like off the screen like that. Okay, so I'm going to save changes. And here's kind of what it looks like right here. There you go. So it's going to go through there, start and end. Now, if you wanted that to be a little slower, then you're just going to make that a little longer. And obviously, you're going to transition those by hitting the plus signs on front and the back of the track. Okay. So all you got to do is go in there and change the, directed by, produced by. So in this case, music created by you, directed by you. Somebody videographer, somebody videoed, give them the credit. Somebody took some pictures, give them the credit. This is also the time where you don't have to give any credit for the stock footage, and that's why I'm saying don't get anything off Google. Okay, that doesn't help our digital literacy initiative. So we want to do all stuff on our own. Okay, and then when we do export, last but not least, you'll click export. Make sure you save it. So in this case, I'll say Mr. McGuire, how to with PSA/WCMS. Right there. And then I'll click save. Okay. Now in this case, now it's exiting or it's exporting. Okay. Of course, I don't want to finish it. You can manage subtitles here. You can send it to the play posted, which is another process I can show you later. So I'm gonna click done. I'm gonna go. If I want to go back to it and go back and re-edit. So like, let's say I say to someone, hey, you need to add this, and you've already exported it. All you have to do is go back to your edit, and edit what needs to be done. Okay. One last thing is if your music extends all the way to like a little more than about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but your video is done at 1 minute and 40 seconds or so, then you're going to have dead air with just music. So what you're going to have to do here is you're going to want to split this clip, okay, or extend this to where it's not as long, okay, and get your audio levels to where you can, let's say if there's no talking, then you're going to go up to 100%, and then at the very end, you're going to fade it out. So like it'll look something like this. So watch the fade out. You got the music at 100%. The scrolling credits, then it's going to fade out nice and smooth, and boom, and that's it. So then you export it. Okay. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to post this on our YouTube channel and our Canvas for everybody to watch. Please make sure that you go through this uh, uh, specifically and intentionally so we can get everything we need to do. So awesome. I'm excited about your all's video, and I think all the other teachers are going to be too. So again, lastly, don't forget, make sure you schedule your time with your teacher. Make sure you send emails to your teachers and things like that. And I want to see that response. Like for example, somebody sent an email yesterday stating, "Hey, I need to do this with. I need to get this interview on Friday. A certain period of time. So please make sure that you get that scheduled, and please also, students, please don't come to my room." Without a green hall pass from that teacher. Okay. And if you think you need a camera throughout the day, please check with me before you leave my class, because I might have other things going on. So there's only one of me and there's 170 of you guys. So just try to be patient with me so I can get everybody on the same page. And I'm trying to work as diligently with everyone as I can. So thank you. And let's get to it.